Suri also joins us live. Atul, fantastic to have you back on ET Now. Thank you for joining us. Atul, September has been a rather tricky and a volatile month. First we saw a crack, then a rally. What's going on? What is the real market? Why are things so volatile, and will they remain volatile?
Well, things have been volatile, and it's not just only in equities, Nikunj, it's all asset classes, especially what's happening to currency. Historically, it's rarely, or I don't remember seeing such volatility in the currency itself. You're seeing even a little bit of movements that are happening in your commodity spaces, the way gold, etc., have taken an up move. So there is this whole, sort of upheaval that's happening, and we know that it's very much driven by what's happening to the emerging market space, which is a function of the whole QE effect, etc. So India is nothing but a part of that. Yes, at sometimes if we get our acts together, we seem to do things better. For example, the whole move that has happened in the last, week, 10 days or thereabouts, India has really outperformed all the BRIC countries, and it's had a much sharper and one of the better emerging markets. Whereas on the way down also, we had that same problem. We outperformed, but in the negative way, and we got hit very much. So at the moment, I think we are in this very zigzag space. It's not just India. It's happening globally. You see whether it's Indonesia, Brazil, other, China. So you really are seeing that there has been a lot of movement globally. Yes, India seems to be in a bit of focus because we seem to, be outperforming on both ends of the spectrum. That's why we see this kind of volatility. But to put it in perspective as to how I see the markets at the moment. Well, I think that the current fall that took us to 5,100 has, I think, broken the back of a long 1.5-year kind of bull market that we had. Because what I feel is the market has made a lower bottom, which it had done around 5,500 or thereabouts and went to 5,100. We've had this very sharp pullback. As I said, it is global. And of course, India seems to have got its act better thanks to a new RBI governor, his statements, etc., whatever there is. And we are at 5,900. I feel that for us the important area would be around 6093. 6093, why? Because it has been a major top earlier. And in case we are able to take that out, we would really go out and make a higher top, which I think would be very important, or the first step to a revival or kind of a return to the bull phase that it is. Otherwise, it just stands as this whole rally would just then. If that level doesn't get taken out, I think it will just stand as nothing but a short covering rally. And if you look at the way the markets are, the components, the stocks that are moving, you will realize that the big money that is there, or the big moves that is there, are really in the short spaces, stocks that are really short. First, it was your private sector banks, PSU banks, capital goods, some of the PSU stocks also. So these are the stocks that are really beaten down, and that's why you see very high percentage gain. The leaders that there were earlier in the earlier rally, barring IT, you don't see very big moves in FMCG or pharma in terms of percentage wise. So I would say that at the moment we are in a short covering rally. Beyond 6093, in which case we make a higher top, I think that could be a point where one could have a trend reversal at the start of another bull market, which I still feel has been broken by the fall below 5050. So at the moment, I think it's a short covering rally, but keep my fingers crossed and hope that it surprises us beyond 6093.
A couple of interesting points that you were making there. To start off with on the currency, sure enough, it's been a volatile ride, but it's been significant amount of strength as well that we've seen in the last couple of trading sessions. We're already at that 63 mark for the currency. Would it be fair to assume that at least in the near term, perhaps, we may have bottomed out?
In the near term, that's the important word you used, and I would agree with that. But have we bottomed out? Have emerging markets bottomed out? Has India bottomed out? I still think give it a couple of days more. Excesses were done, Aisha, on all fronts. It was happening in currencies, it was happening in equities, and what we call, things get oversold or excesses happen. And the bounce back that happens also is fierce. What you're seeing in equities, you're also seeing in currencies. But, just as I said, 6093 for me would be the litmus test as far as equities go. I think that this move in currency should take it around 62.43 rupee dollar. And I would see what would happen beyond that. So give it a few more days. Yes, things are good. Things are green. We may not have, the same quantum of moves. But we will have to cross some important hurdles to really go out and make a case for the resumption of a bull market and a runaway bull market at that. So I feel that this is the stage of a short covering rally, equities, currencies, etc. We will have to give it some more time. If that happens, touch wood, it should be a great time for all. Otherwise, we run the risk of getting sucked into this kind of reverse trade, and then if the next leg opens down, as it is, people have been so badly hurt, and they are bleeding. Not much money is being made. Traders, investors. I think there could be another jolt coming then. So it's something I would be really cautious beyond a certain point in time.
Atul, how crucial could be the Fed's meeting on the 18th? And given the way the dollar index has panned out, which again impacts our currency as well, what is it that you're sensing? How big an event could it turn out for us?
I think it's very, very important, and we have seen. I mean, though of course I look at charts, and events should not matter to me, but it is a reality that QE, for whatever the word is, it's important. It has an impact. It has an impact, especially the EMs as a space which India is a part of, is the one that reacts first to it. So I do think whether it's going to be a soft tapering, hard tapering. Again, everyone is guessing. There is a 50-50 whatever thought process. Some days it's soft, some days it's hard, depending on some statements, some body language. But the fact is that it's difficult to preempt it for me. I would wait for the event to happen. And based on the price reaction that happens then, I feel that there would be a very big directional move likely to happen. The dollar index, what you raised was correct. That's going to give us a lead indicator, because what is really happening is, even one step before that, is what is happening to US bond yields. And US bond yields is really I would say that the starting point of the thread. If you see a jumbled thread, you want to look for the starting point. I think that is where the US bond yields are, which has an impact on the dollar, and that affects currencies and EMs, etc. So it's very complex in that sense of the term, the whole macro picture. But this QE meeting to come across in the next few days, I think would give us some major directional moves. And as I said, I would rather play the event after it happens, because I don't have the competence to decide or judge whether it's going to be soft or hard. When it happens, we'll see.
Fair point. Atul, you talked about 1693 at the top. What if this short covering led rally were to reverse? Do you think then 5100 would stay put, or could it get worse than that?
It is. My target, on record has been 5020 for the Nifty. So I don't know whether we will revisit that or go all the way there. I hope not. But that's the kind of scenario which I originally had planned out. That is much before the short covering rally happened, and when the 5500s got broken. So I would sort of keep an open mind towards those levels, and I think that if whether it's QE driven, which I think it most likely would be, goes against emerging markets, goes against India, we could see another leg down, and which could be again sharp and very disappointing. So we could be around 5,000, 5,100, somewhere there. The possibility is there, and it would be much more painful this time.
Sounding really bearish to me, but when I speak to your folks at your firm, they are not that bearish. Are these your personal views, or you're presenting your firm rare?
Oh, no. These are my personal views, and I'm not bearish, Nikunj.
5100, when Nifty is 5900, you're bearish.
No. I'm not at all bearish. I'm not at all bearish. We have been, we've been participating. Disclaimer, I have a vested interest in whatever I say, and Rare Enterprises does. So I'm not really bearish. It's just that I feel that, most people, the bigger part of the rally is over. And now to really, get over the top at 6,000, 6,100 levels would be dangerous. The risk I see is always of getting sucked into somewhere near the top. And that's something I'm really cautious about. That's something which I don't want to lose out on. Yes, as I said, in case events work out to favor and we cross that 6093 hurdle, I think there's money still to be made, and one could again, sort of reinitiate or maybe double up your trades. So I'm definitely positive in the short term. I do think that we are a part of a rally, but as I said that, will we be able to cross that since we're nearing it? I'll just keep my fingers crossed.
So low-hanging fruits have been plucked. Okay, we talked about IT, we talked about farmers, but I want to talk about autos, because 2 days ago the auto index touched a fresh high for this year. Do you think auto stocks in the short term are poised to go higher, especially names like Tata Motors, Bajaj Auto, Hero MotoCorp, largely two-wheelers?
Yes, I think so. I think they're very good charts, and when stocks touch lifetime highs, they do not really fail, and more so when they do that in markets which are not so gung-ho, or your index is not at new highs. We talk about IT, of course, it's the best performing right now, pharma, FMCG, but what sector I think is the dark horse is autos, because even in the fall that happened to 5100, you will notice that autos really did not take it in the chin. Yes, they were weak, but they kind of held out and they didn't sort of correct sharply, and which for me is a very positive thing. And as and when markets have revived, you find that some of the auto stocks have really started moving up. So really this is a sector, we can talk about FMCG, pharma, auto, etc. Those sectors are still up, they're still positive, but if you're looking for something that has not moved much, and which could be the next big thing really as far as the markets go on the long side, I think autos is the space, and there are some excellent chart formations that are happening in the auto space.
Tata Motors be one of them?
Again, I wouldn't like to comment on stocks, Aisha, because we could have a vested interest in it. So let's not discuss stocks, but definitely it's a part, and it's a major player in the auto space, cannot be divorced from that.
Disclosure, what do you own in IT? You can give me a disclosure since you have a vested interest.
So I think for me, as an individual, Nikunj, it's always been the lifetime highs have always been darlings, and the way some of the IT stocks are doing, I see there is no reason why one should not be in them. Not only have they done well in the uptrends, but even when the markets have been down, you'll notice that some of these stocks have held out very well. A sweet 1%, 0.5%, 2% kind of move every day is much better than getting a 8 to 10% move, because you're more likely to ride these shorter, smaller gains, but more consistent gains every day. So it's definitely the sweetest space in the market, has been for the last 15 days, month, 2 months, 3 months, has been. All IT stocks that are at lifetime highs, I think, are very, very special. And it's not just Indian IT. Even if I look at global IT, if you look at, I feel that the NASDAQ is going to revisit the 2000 top, which we thought we would never see in our lifetimes. I think we are going to see the new high in the NASDAQ. We are going to see a lot of flurry that's going to happen in IT space globally. And India is a part of it. And the Indian stocks are doing very well. And I think they will do well even going ahead. And I would bet on lifetime highs in the IT space.
What happens to banks, Atul? Is there still scope to make money in the short covering-led pullback, or do you think it's now done with?
I think the space that in the banks that could do that is in the PSU banks. If I was seeing the kind of volumes and open interest, etc., I still feel that there has not been major short covering that has happened, and I feel that there is going to be a short covering rally. Short covering rally, remember, are very sharp, and they actually do very for a trade, if you get it right, they do make a lot of money. We've seen that kind of spike, that kind of volume that has happened in private sector banks, and we've already started seeing that happen in PSU banks, but I think that there is still a lot of space, a lot of covering to be done there. So I feel that PSU banks could kind of make money in the short covering rally, which I think would go on for a few more days.
That be stock specific when it comes to PSU banks?
I don't think so. It will be very difficult. It will be very difficult, Aisha. Sorry. It will be very difficult to really, because there are so many of them littered with so many names. Very often you just have to see which charts look good, whether volumes are good, or maybe if you can't figure it out, buy a basket, a selective basket or thereabouts. But I would really go for the sector as a whole or the space as a whole.
So Atul, for someone who wants to benefit from your wisdom, give me a money-making idea. It could be a trend, it could be an idea, it could be a trade.
See, again, for someone like me who's a trend follower, I do think that, you do have flavors, but you cannot take away the beauty of lifetime highs. IT, has been whipped, has been talked about. People say, oh, it's already done, it's too expensive. But, we've seen that in the past, Nikunj. We saw that with FMCG. We saw that 2 years ago, 3 years ago, people were saying, it's over, it's over. I yet do not think that those trends are over, because trends that, when you have sector indices at lifetime highs, you have so many stocks touching lifetime highs. I think that these trends go on for much longer, and I think that IT is going to be, yes, in the short term, you may have corrections, etc. That's fine. But I do think that going ahead, IT is still going to continue. It has the steam. As I said, it's not just a thesis of what's happening with the IT index in India, but it's really what's happening with global IT. If you look at the charts of NASDAQ, if you look at the major components of NASDAQ, you find that there's a lot of steam happening there. You find a lot of other spaces in the IT globally, which are very beautiful charts, and I see no reason why Indian IT should not perform.
So IT, pharma and dark horse could be autos. Let's look at mid-cap. Final question. What do you like from the mid-cap space? Because suddenly mid-cap stocks have stopped falling. Markets have been volatile. Things have been all over the place. But mid-cap stocks have not seen too much of carnage. Do you like anything there? Are you
Case in point, yesterday we had a flat index, but the mid-cap index was up 1.5%. The small-cap index also was up. And this is very rare, where they have always been on the receiving end. So I feel that you will see, but again in mid-caps, unlike large-caps, Nikunj, the problem is that, it is such a large universe. It is a very stock-specific approach. You really, like we did mention mid-cap banks, PSU banks, and I don't know whether they are mid-caps or no, but you do see that kind of flurry that is happening. So you do see these sectorial things, and while playing mid-caps, you really have to be fast if you're on the trading space. So that's really what I think. So I think it's going to be a little more stock specific, but more important, the point being that yes, I do feel that we are going to see some sort of catch up or some sort of, whether it's a short covering rally or a fresh build up, only time will tell, going to happen in the mid cap space.